This is a session on sowing resilience, advancing conservation, and sustainability using OpenET data. I think this is a really nice follow-on to the plenary speakers that we heard this morning. We're going to get some more detail on each of these projects from our speakers today. I think we'll let the speakers talk. We'll have some questions for each speaker after the talk. If there's some time at the end, we can have some group questions to the whole panel, if that's okay. So our first speaker today is Maria Zamora Ray. I'll just read your biography here. She's an assistant professor in biological and ecological engineering department at Oregon State University, statewide extension irrigation specialist. Dr. Zamora Ray works with growers and different stakeholders to improve crop water use efficiency, water conservation, and to develop integrated solutions to achieve higher agricultural productivity and sustainability. Dr. Zamora Ray aims to strengthen agricultural competitiveness and resilience through collaborative efforts with stakeholders in Oregon and neighboring states, and advocates for effective strategies in water resource management. So thank you, Dr. Is there a clicker?
On the tab, okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Marta, for that introduction, and thank you. I'm super grateful to be here and excited to talk about a little bit of the foundation of some of the collaborations and innovations that we have created in the past years. In today's presentation, I just go over how cultivating interdisciplinary and cross-boundary collaborations have contributed to grant applications, adapted to legislative changes, and also strengthening partnerships with various agencies, local agencies, and state agencies, as well as different stakeholders across the state and in different states in the United States. So our initial kind of contact with OpenET started back in 2021, 2022, that we were part of a project that was funded by the NASA Western Water Applications Office. And this was a multi-state collaboration. We partnered with different Department of Water Resources in Oregon and Washington and Idaho, as well as DRI, Washington State University, Oregon State University, and NASA. And pretty much this multi-state collaboration was to improve water management with easy access to satellite-based ET data and also mapping tools. So with this project, we were able to, it was basically on the Columbia River Basin Evaporation Project. It was three main objectives of this was to promote OpenET data sharing, learning of the tool across Oregon, Idaho, Washington, and other states in the Columbia River Basin. We also wanted to refine OpenET functionality for water management. And then it was one of the tools that it was developed was like the Columbia River Basin Evapotranspiration Mapping tool. So as part, it was overall like a very nice way to start collaborating across different states, understanding what was going on in each of the states, but also like unify ourselves into a goal of final product that we could just bring to the Columbia Basin and to different stakeholders across, especially like researchers and different agencies. So as part of this collaboration, we developed the Train the Trainer workshops. This was part of the education and outreach that we wanted to bridge the tool with different stakeholders across the state. So we invited people mostly from Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, but there were some other participants from Montana and other states. And as part of these workshops, it was really interesting to see how we were able to start building this new knowledge and creating that bridge. So we evaluated the before and after the workshop knowledge, and we asked participants what was their understanding on the OpenET data, like how was actually collected, verified, and also how they could use it for irrigation management or like water management decisions. And at the end of the workshops, we're able to see a lot of like a shift from basic level of understanding to like more high and moderate or full comprehension of like the data. And also we asked participants about the usefulness of OpenET to them. And we were able to see how people were understanding better the data, but also like that they found better ways of using OpenET, and it was like eye-opening. And some of the other results from the surveys was like the trust in the data, and like we were able to see also how at the very end of the workshops, like people were really trusting OpenET. So overall, was a very successful and very positive feedback, and that created a lot of avenues for future collaboration among agencies, stakeholders, and as part of the lessons learned and the feedback that we received from the participants, we saw similar things that we have seen during the conference. We saw that people wanted to know more, like how to become more accurate, like how can we bring accuracy data specific to the Pacific Northwest. And people wanted to know if there was a possibility to bring more weather stations to Oregon, and or flag areas that had poor satellite data that could be based on clouds or smoke. And there was comments about like, hopefully you can work on irrigation scheduling. For me, that was like a very, oh yeah, like, because I'm an irrigation specialist, so it was like a really good like outcome from all these feedback, the feedback from the workshops, but also like thinking that a lot of other people will be, you know, working on that area, and that could be a great facilitation for different states. Some other ones were like to determine water balances, or irrigation management, or irrigation withdrawals, additional validation, more data values specifically for different crops, and overall, like we found out that people were really appreciative of the tools, and they also mentioned that training and outreach was actually a key to really make sure that those tools were going to be successfully used in the future. So we found that OSU Extension could be play a really important role in this in the feedback, but in the future, like how we can just really bridge tools that are available with the community, with researchers, with different stakeholders across the state and beyond. So as part of those collaborations, we continue partnering with the Department of Water Resources, and one of the successful outcomes was, as Jordan was mentioning before, was part of the House Bill 2010. So these partnerships created this foundation for us to move forward with some of the feedback that was from these from these surveys. Like it was rectified by the surveys, but like it has been a claim for the state in a very long time. So we are including now in the AgriMet's network 20. Well, there are 30 different news stations, but 20 for as part of this collaboration with OWRD, the Water Resources Department, the Bureau of Reclamation, and Oregon Water, OSU, our university. So there's a lot of support also in this bill to continue getting data from satellite, and as a partnership with OpenET. And we have plans, and we're looking into developing a platform that will be centralized, user-friendly, and free access platform that can funnel data from weather stations, from OpenET, or from different sources, but can be utilized for decision support tools to growers in particular. So these will be farm-level decision support tools. Additionally, there are 2 more new ag water management faculty members that will be joining. But the whole idea is to create a network of researchers and leverage from the expertise in ag water management across the state that can be directly working with local agencies, stakeholders, the industry for ag water management in Oregon. So we were really excited to to see these moving forward, and excited to partner with the different local agencies and OpenET too. Currently, we're using some of the tools like OpenET, for example, too. My student Draga over here, like she is conducting a research on water management and dynamics in hazelnut orchards using cover crops. So basically, we're trying to start from bottom up, like trying to implement and equip different soil moisture sensors, plant sensors as dendrometers, and also equip the sites with some of the eddy covariance and LICOR, the 710 ET sensors, and compare these data. And that'll be used, is going to be a dual use for comparison with satellite data, and also for like a validation of the data too. So we're hoping to use OpenET and Planet Labs for a better resolution too. But overall, like all these, I forgot to mention that I have like 70% extension appointment. So I do work with a lot of growers across the state, and they constantly have like different questions related to their farming operations and management, and how we can improve like crop water use and irrigation efficiency. So one of the questions that we would like to answer with this research is there any competition, like when they're actually using cover crops or not? Because we have seen in the Willamette Valley a huge transition from different crops. For example, like grass seed to hazelnut orchards, and most of them are kept fallow underneath, so that's causing a lot of runoff and nutrient leaching. So we're hoping that the implementation and adoption of cover crops in the area could potentially alleviate some of the of these detrimental causes. So we also want to make sure that we can have data to validate that soil moisture might not, like cover crops are not necessarily competing against like their orchards, and how to manage better during when to plant it, when to kill it, how to incorporate it, what would be the best crop cover to reduce these runoff or kept moisture within the orchard. Another collaboration is the crop manage. So we resubmitted a project. Some of you have been in crop manage, like Michael Can, I don't know if he's around here, but like yesterday he presented about these decision support tool. So we're trying to expand this tool that was developed by the University of California into Washington and Oregon. And it is a decision support tool that uses satellite data, also soil, crop, and irrigation system information to deliver irrigation and nitrogen fertilizer recommendations to growers. So we're hoping to use these as our interface with growers using different data sources. Another project is we are also trying to develop, we recently submitted another grant to develop and deploy a IA system that synthesizes two different sources, like local, like the grower information, and satellite data using OpenET to create an automated irrigation scheduling system. So basically, like, we have seen a lot of data that is coming directly from satellite data, but we're missing some of the information that is inherited, like with growers, and they're experts in their soils, in their fields. They know when to start irrigation, when not, like, and we can start kind of like utilizing these two data sources to learn from them and learn from the satellite to create these automatic irrigation scheduling system. But overall, this was supposed to be an interactive session, and because of internet access, we're not going to do it that way. But I feel like these conferences really spark opportunities to foster collaborations and innovations, and really pave the future for partnerships and across different teams, multidisciplinary teams, and also across different states. So I really hope that this could be, I'm not sure if right now would be the time because of time, but I feel like it would be great to figure out what's going on in other states and how we could potentially collaborate in the future in ways that you have seen synergies and ways that we can just really cross boundaries and start partnering like in the future. So with that, I thank you.
Yeah, I think we have about 5 minutes now, so if we
Okay.
could have some discussion towards this end. I open it up to the audience for questions. If you could please step up to the microphone to ask your question so we can make sure this gets captured in the recording.
Okay.
One of the challenges that we're dealing with is having people be okay, local growers be okay with having their field information out there. And I'm just wondering what your feedback has been from the general public and from people out in the field responding to what you're sharing.
Well, it has been a mix of like reactions. I think I wish it would be, that easier, but I feel like it's been I remember being in one workshop, and it was a very shocking moment of like, one grower thinking that he was really, really annoyed because he felt that the time it was, he attended a workshop, and not these workshops, but a different one, and he wanted to learn about, all these, but when he found out that data was not necessarily plug and play in his farm operations, he was kind of like, okay, you're wasting my time. I mean, I've been here like hours waiting for like, when are you going to tell me how I can use this information directly in my farm operations? So I feel like that is one of the extreme cases that we have. I mean, I've been experienced, but it was like an eye-opening for us to understand that, well, if we're not there yet, we should be careful and really find out ways to create that bridge with them whenever we're ready. So that's why investing in a decision support tool and really creating that interface that they can just almost like plug and play and use it as easy as possible, that'll be the best way to funnel information and the latest science or like the data that can be available to them in their field. So that's one of them. Like, there's some other ones that as soon as I start talking more, they're a little bit more progressive, and they're like really wanting to know about the satellite and when can we actually like start using the data and how we can. So I feel like depending on who you talk to, I always said that like it's important to really put yourself in the other person's like shoes and understand what are the major needs, what do they care, and then go into that as a point of connection for talking about very complex data and how that could be used in their own operations, but without overwhelming them and like causing them to back up. So yeah. Anything else?
Any more questions?
Hi, curious, what makes OpenET so compelling as a point of collaboration in ways that perhaps other open data portals haven't been up to this point?
I think the processing is the key for the data, the data availability and readily available right now. Is OpenET, for example, has the ability to you almost have real data available for you and historical data in one platform. I think there's other data sources, but being able to extract the data, process the data, and provide real-time data requires way more of is labor intensive and time consuming. So I feel like that is the option that we have right now to really use that almost readily available data without like going into more processing and more more steps on top of the if, for example, if you're going to use OpenET right now for other purposes, it's going to take some data processing on your side for irrigation scheduling or whatever. But if you have to additionally create out these data processing steps, it will delay, I think, like the actual data use.
So like time to insight, I guess, is,
Time and labor, yeah,
yeah.
I think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Great,
thank you.
thanks. If we may have time for more questions at the end of the session, but thank you, Dr. Zamora.
Thanks.